So the conclusion on the left, to the left, depends on which of the following assumptions. What's the conclusion? The conclusion is that belly dancing is as much a valid art form as any dance, since it is performance-centered with a repertoire of choreography and a rich history. The other evidence, or the other things stated, are that it's marginalized within the dance world and not considered a valid art form. One of the things to look for when you're trying to find the underlying assumption is to look for terms and ideas that appear in the conclusion that weren't in the evidence. Those are very often part of the assumption because they're the unstated part of the argument, and the conclusion is the part that draws the stated and the unstated together. So the things that appear new in our conclusion are that it's performance-centered and with a repertoire of choreography and a rich history. That is the justification for it being a valid art form, so probably the assumption is that that's what being a valid art form means. Let's check for that. Answer choice A: if people are willing to pay to see a dance performed, the dance should be considered an art form. So that's certainly a definition for an art form, but it doesn't mesh with the argument we actually get in the passage. Choice B: since belly dancing is performance-centered, audiences usually enjoy the stories behind the dances as well as the dances themselves. Possibly true, and we do have performance-centered there, but we want to tie the performance-centered and repertoire of choreography to the idea of it being an art form. Choice C: if a dance does not have a rich history, it is not an art form. So this addresses the rich history, but not the performance-centeredness or the repertoire of choreography. Choice D: any dance that is performance-centered with a repertoire of choreography and a rich history is a valid art form. So here's the connection to the terms, or between the terms that appear in the conclusion and those, and the lack of them in the evidence, and the part about the art form being in the evidence. So choice D.